Hello and welcome to Arcadia TV. We're here with Betty Cheek this morning, and Betty is a former tax advisor. She's a member of our church, and she used to own her own tax agency. And so we thought we would ask her a few of the questions that I know some of us have regarding the stimulus package that was just passed by the government. Betty, thank you for being here.
You're welcome. It's good to be here. The first thing you need to know about the economic impact payment is for most taxpayers, the payment is automatic. If you filed a 2018 or a 2019 tax return, and most seniors and retirees, then you're automatically going to get a payment. You don't need to do anything.
Great. Well, let me ask you a few questions, Betty. The first one is, who is eligible for the payments?
Okay. U.S. residents are eligible for the economic impact payment. If you were an individual filing it, then you've already filed, it's $1,200. Or head of household, you will receive $1,200. For married, filing a joint tax return with your spouse, you will receive $2,400 if you were not a dependent of another taxpayer. And you also have to have a work-eligible Social Security number with adjusted gross income. I'm going to give you these amounts, but at the end, these things are on the IRS website, and so you may not want to write them down, but you might remember what section you qualify in. So for individuals, if your adjusted gross income was $75,000, then you will get the full amount of the $1,200. $112,500, you will get the full amount, head of household. And for married filing joint, if your adjusted gross income is not over $150,000, you will get the full amount. So adjusted gross income, if you have your tax return and you want to look it up to see if you qualify, on 2018, it's line 7. It's not your gross income, it's your adjusted gross income. And then on 2019, it's line 8B. And so you can look that up and see if you're not over that amount. Now, if your adjusted gross income is higher than that amount, then you'll receive a reduced payment. But there's limits to that also, and those limits are on the website also. So it depends on your specific adjusted gross income as to the amount you're going to receive. But those people are all eligible. Now, other eligible people are retirees and recipients of Social Security benefits, railroad retirement benefits, and disability or veterans benefits, as well as taxpayers who do not normally make enough to file a tax return. You will receive a payment, and this also includes those who have no income, as well as those whose income comes directly from certain benefit programs such as SSI, Supplemental Security Income. So the question for these people will be, how do I get my money? Because I didn't file a tax return, I wasn't required to. So just remember, if you were a Social Security recipient or railroad retirement benefit recipient, you will get it automatically. So the government is going to come up with guidelines as to how everyone else can get their payments. And I'm sure they're working on that as we speak.
Okay. So who is not eligible then?
Okay, if you make over, for single filers, individual filers, if your adjusted gross income on one of those lines was $99,000, you won't get it. If you filed as head of household, $136,500, you won't get it. $198,000 if your filing status was married filing jointly, you're not eligible. So also, if you can be claimed as a dependent on another person's tax return, if you were a student or older dependent or a child, and even though you filed your own tax return, but you were eligible to be claimed on someone else's return, you won't get it. So, and if you do not have a valid Social Security number, you're not eligible.
So how much is it worth?
Okay. Eligible individuals with adjusted gross income, $75,000 if you're single, $112,500 if you're head of household, $150,000 if you're married filing jointly, are eligible for the full amount. Now, if you filed and you have dependents, and your dependents, your qualifying children, you'll get an additional $500 per child. So if you're single and you get the $1,200 and you had a dependent child, you'll get an additional $500 for the child that you have on your tax return. And for filers above these amounts, I think we just discussed that, but if it's above these threshold amounts, they're going to reduce it by $5 for each $100 above. Those are kind of hard formulas to remember, but again, I'm going to give you the website to go look at what you might be interested in, what might apply to you. And also, the stimulus is not going to be taxable as of right now.
So do we need to take any action in order to benefit from this?
No. People who filed the 2019 or 2018 tax return don't do anything. You don't have to, if you've already filed it for 2019, the IRS is going to use 2019 information to calculate the payment amount. Now, you're going to get that exact amount unless your income is above these levels that I gave you, and then they'll adjust it. But if you haven't filed for 2019 but filed a 2018 tax return, then they're going to use that income and the information from the 2018 to calculate what you would receive. So I have a couple of things that are not in there, but just as a preparer in the past that I do know of. If you've moved after you filed your 2018 tax return, they go by the address that's on there. And if you ever ask any information, if you call the IRS, or if you went online and did something, you have to give them your prior year's address because that's what they go by. So if you've moved since 2018, there's a form 8822. It's a change of address form. I don't know how they're going to handle this, but in the past, the IRS never forwards checks. The post office does not forward IRS refund checks. They send them back, and so then it takes you weeks to get it because you have to do an address form. You can either fill this out online and mail it in, or you can call them, but I'm telling you, you might be waiting on the phone for 45 minutes. But that's just something you can try. Their number is 1-800-829-1040. And the other thing is, if you got a refund or you owed, it doesn't make any difference. You're gonna get that based on your adjusted gross income. So just say, for instance, individuals, if you didn't have any taxable refund, your adjusted gross income might be zero. It might not. It might be $20, but as long as it's not over the $75,000, you'll get the full amount. And the other thing that I have a question about is a bank account, and you may want to call your bank and ask them if you changed your account number from last year for some reason. If you're at the same bank, they may be able to work. They may have something online that they're going to do to catch these checks, these direct deposit checks, if you changed your bank account number. So you may want to talk to your bank about that, and the IRS may address it, but they always go by last year's tax return, the prior year, or if you filed this year and you put the new account number on it, then you're okay. But I'm just talking about if you haven't filed for 2019 and you have those two changes, address and bank account number. Okay.
All right. Another question for you. So should we expect any kind of correspondence from the IRS, like a letter or something from them?
Yes. This is probably one of the biggest areas of scams to me that's going to come up, but this is what their guideline is right now. They plan to mail a letter to you to let you know whether they deposited it into your bank account or whether they mailed it to you. And so then it says that there'll also be how to report any failure if you did not any failure to receive the payment. So if you didn't receive it, you're going to have to be very careful. These letters are going to come, and if you don't understand it, if you think it's a fraud, there's emails out there, text, phone calls. I'm sure if you've been a victim of it. I have. Not anything taken away from me, but anyway, I called the police department, and I said the IRS is calling me, and I know they don't call. And so anyway, about 2 weeks after that, this happened a couple of years ago, it was in the newspaper that all these people were getting these phone calls. So I don't know what they did about it, but they were alerting people. It's hard to find them because they change phone numbers every time they make a phone call. So just remember that the IRS will not call you, text you, email you, or contact you on social media asking for personal or bank account information. Now, they don't just, they don't make it hard. They make it easy. They act like, they're going to come arrest you, or just to give, saying you just owe this little bit amount and we're going to deduct that from your stimulus payment, but we need this information from you. They do it in a nice way to try to get the information out of you. So also, if you get an email and it says an attachment or a link claiming to have specific information about your economic payment or refund, you do not want to do that. You just need to wait for your check. I know everybody's going to be impatient about that. They said it'd be about 3 weeks, so sometime in April. But you just need to wait, and then you will. It says you will get a letter right now. Things change. But one thing that I wanted to mention, there is no guidance right now for in case you did not have to file a return. At the beginning, they said you need to file a simple tax return, but that's changed, and they're supposed to put a portal or some kind of website for people to go to. I don't know how when that will be, so you have to wait on that one. So in summary, I just wanted to give you a few things that we've talked about. Do not call the IRS. That's the first thing on their website. Do not call. And no need to take action. If you filed a tax return in 2018 or 2019, or if you receive Social Security benefits or railroad retirement benefits, you don't need to file. And also Social Security disability. There will be updates on the TV. Normally, I don't like to watch all that stuff on TV, but you're just the word will get around and you'll say, oh, I saw it on TV. So you can also go to the IRS.gov website, type in irs.gov. They're not the fastest to update everything, but I think they're keeping up with this. You'll probably see it on TV first, but when you go to irs.gov, you click on coronavirus relief. There's several topics up there. And so when you click on that, it'll list all of these topics that we've just discussed and all we have mentioned today, and then you click on an arrow. A lot of it repeats itself, but then it includes a little bit more each time, so you might want to read it. And as of today, there's only going to be one stimulus payment. And the good news that I heard right before I came in New York that they hope things have peaked out. But you know what? It's still dangerous out there. People still have it. So I wanted to tell you, filing your 29 tax return has been extended to July the 15th. Or if you need to file an extension, you need to file it by that date, and then it's good until October the 15th. This is not an extension of time to pay. If you owe the IRS and you already know it, they want their money then. And generally, if you don't pay it, they're going to charge interest back to the time it was due, July the 15th. So it's just giving you a time to get your taxes in order, but not to make payments. So that's the tax law in the past. I know they're doing a few exceptions now, but that was not listed as an exception. And then if you're currently making estimated tax payments and are unable to pay, the interest will still accrue until you begin making payments again. So even though you didn't make them, the interest is still going to build. And then one more thing, unemployment, that was a big deal, and who was going to get it. And I have grandkids too that said, didn't know if they were eligible. Go ahead and apply for it. And if you were ineligible before April the 5th of 2020, this is a new quarter, and I went to the Texas Workforce website, and it said you need to reapply. They have a really good website that has a flow chart that tells you, what you qualify for and how to fill this out. And the law is allowing self-employed individuals, even if they didn't pay into Texas Workforce Insurance, that they're able to apply. So that's a biggie. That is a huge help for self-employed people if they own their own small business and they did not pay into unemployment insurance. And the website for that is twc.texas.gov. And there's a lot of information there. The time frames for you to file is there also. It gives you, depending on your area code, and job listings are there. So changes are taking place every day, so keep in touch through TV or through the IRS or Google something, but be careful what you Google and what they say. Do not answer anybody's questions about your stimulus payment online or on the phone.
Speaking of which, my wife just had her information hacked. There's a lot of people who are home right now, so there's a lot more fraud going on. So, as Miss Betty said, please be careful about what information you disclose.
Yeah.
Not that Paige did; they hacked a website. But one more question I had for you. I understand that there are extensions as far as paying in your quarterly taxes as well. At least my CPA mentioned that now the first quarter is due July 15th, but the second quarter is due June 15th. So it's kind of mixed up that way.
Yes,
is that correct?
Yes. I just saw that. I didn't see the rest of it, but I just saw June the 15th. Don't forget your estimated tax payment.
Yeah, so it's backwards. So
yeah,
pay real close attention to when your quarterly taxes are due so you avoid those penalties. Thank you, Ms. Betty, so much for coming by and giving us some tax advice. I know it can be pretty complicated for some of us who are not tax people, so we really appreciate you giving of your time.
And I will just say, I said to Stephen earlier, there's a lot of questions here that I had myself, because doing income taxes, I go, well, what about this person and that person? Because there's exceptions to everything. So, you may want to look into something further with the tax preparer or with, go online as it is for your situation, which may be a little bit different. But if you've already filed, you're going to get it, so don't worry about that.
And we'll put a link to the website she was talking about, the part of the IRS.gov website that talks about this, and it'll be in the notes at the bottom of this YouTube video. So feel free to click on that link and get some more information in case you didn't get your questions answered. But we do just want to thank you for tuning into Arcadia TV. Remember to follow us on Facebook at Arcadia First Baptist Church, or to look at our website at arcadiafbc.org for more information and updates and videos. So we love you, we miss you, we hope you're doing well. God bless.